We are live.
And we're back.
Hi guys, welcome back to our live stream. Today we're very excited. We're going to be sharing stuff. Our most asked question ever is, what do we use to film our YouTube videos? And we have that and more. And we have our experts. We're here to share with you the best things we've learned so far. How many videos do we have on our YouTube channel now?
I think over 1,000, right?
Over 1,000. So I think we know a little bit about YouTube and how to shoot these videos, and we're excited. Are you guys excited?
I'm excited.
I'm always excited.
And if you're all new to our channel and new to our live show, why don't we just do a little bit of introductions?
Yeah, awesome.
Welcome,
this way we give people a little time to join us here. I'm Vero.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Adam.
And we're the Digital Goja team.
And we just want to welcome you all to our channel. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for taking time off from being time off, because most of us are starting to head home at this time. So
yes, it's time to just decompress and just have a good time. Just a couple of things to mention. We have ended our Sigma
huge giveaway,
and the winner has been posted on social media, so make sure to go on there and check it out. In case it was you, we know who it was, but you might not. So go on our links, the links are below. Make sure to check that out, and if you didn't win, let's just be happy. We want to thank you guys. Thank you really for participating and being part of this community with us. And stay tuned till the end of this video, because we're going to reserve our best tip and piece of equipment till the end. The one that works the best. So stay tuned. Anything else you might want to add before we...
Well, I was going to say...
ask your questions. I know we have people on here saying hi from India, from Sanford, Florida.
Right around the corner.
So make sure I'm going to be reading your questions, like always, and I'll make sure Izzy and Adam and myself answer these whenever possible. We are going to be sharing a lot of information today. So, ready? What should we show first?
Well, people always are asking what kind of lenses.
Yeah, I think that's one of the top questions, is what lenses do we have?
And we are so glad that we have access to a lot of different lenses. I mean,
I think like almost all the lenses. I
mean, this is just a small representation of some of the lenses that we like to use in a lot of our videos. Since we're working with a full frame camera, that's one of your favorite. So,
since I'm the one, you're the main show.
You're the videographer.
I stand behind
lovely
the camera.
Assistant.
That's important.
I'm in front of the camera sometimes.
Yep.
But we shoot with the Canon 5D Mark IV, which is a fantastic camera. It's a full frame.
We'll reserve that for last.
It's capable of shooting 4K, but we shoot our YouTube in 1080.
1080, yes, and we upload at 1080 too, HD.
And then we have a selection of lenses here that Izzy brought out. These are some of the most popular lenses that we use. One of the lenses that we do use mostly is going to be the 24-105 f4, or the 24-70 that I have.
No, that's a 24-105.
So yeah, that's going to be the one that I use most. And 24-70 f2.8 that we also use.
Oh, that's heavy. It's a good lens.
So
what's ultrasonic?
Ultrasonic.
Ultrasonic is the focusing motor that Canon utilizes, and there's a couple of different types of ultrasonic motors, and the L series lenses are going to have the better of the two ultrasonic motors that are used. But yeah. These are some of the lenses that we use.
Give me an example of, like, when would you switch from one to the other, shooting Izzy or myself, or?
So some of the openings are shot with 35mm 1.4, which is one of my favorite.
The version 2.
Yeah, one of my favorite lenses. But when I want to get, Izzy separated from some of the background, I'll usually shoot the lens either at f2.8 or f1.4, and sometimes when there's a lot of light in the studio, it's hard to shoot wide open with a lens like this, so I'll usually put on a, like an ND filter to compensate and reduce the exposure, so I'm able to shoot at an aperture of 1.4.
And speaking about lighting, we have one of our favorite in the back right there.
Right.
It's the one hitting the 5D Mark IV right now.
Right. So for lighting, we have a couple of the Manfrotto light panels. Actually, the Spectra
1-to-1. Yep.
So they're 12-inch by 12-inch light panels. They're LED. These provide like a 30-degree spread of light. But these are, these would be the main light source that we, one of the main light sources that we use besides the light that's coming in from the showroom. So.
Awesome.
Any questions?
Yeah, we do have a few questions. Which would be the best lens and camera you would choose? Like, what's your most used, Adam? Because you're the one that's behind the camera the most. What is your go-to pairing between camera and lens?
My go-to would probably be the 35mm 1.4 version 2 and the 5D Mark IV.
Is there a specific reason why?
I just love the look that the 35-1.4 produces. I like to be able to separate the subject from the background, so I like to be able to shoot wide open when it's called for. But the 35mm on a full frame to me is a great focal length to use. But again, we do a variety of shots that require different focal lengths. So certain times I need to get a bit tighter. So I'll use like an 85mm lens.
Sigma.
And we have the Sigma 85 1.4
Can
art.
you show it? That looks big.
That's a big chunk of glass. Yep.
Someone said that now that's some pretty serious glass.
It is.
Yep.
It is pretty serious. It's pretty heavy, but we're always using. We usually have the camera mounted on a tripod, so we're using the Manfrotto video tripods. One of the heads that we have are the 504 head, which is a heavier duty head.
Well, I mean, we want to make sure that the images stay crisp and sharp, and we have as little vibration and movement as possible.
Right.
I mean, every once in a while you'll do some freehand stuff, and I'll see you work with a video monopod. So I've seen you do that also.
And we will have all these links below, everything we mentioned today. You can purchase and find out more information. Just ask any questions, and we'll make sure to answer those.
So pretty much everything that we use, is available for sale.
Okay, perfect.
And what's nice about that is that also gives us experience. So if you have any questions on the product we have.
Yeah, we've
put it through the ropes. Let me put it that way.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to say. Yes. How many videos do you think you've shot?
I've lost track.
You've lost track. Good.
Oh, and people have to take into consideration there's takes also. It isn't like just one long video. It takes a lot of different angles and work to be able to put together a video and maintain the quality that we keep increasing. I remember the days when I started, me, myself, and I, just aiming the camera and going back and forth and trying to reshoot. So now that we have a whole team behind it, you can tell the difference, and I'm sure people are starting to notice that there's a lot more work behind it now. And that's what we have to thank Vero and Adam for this. Absolutely.
Hey, you're welcome.
All of us. Yeah. So, and we're going to keep working harder. No, I'm kidding. No, but really, we are. Do you guys, do we usually shoot at 60, 30, or 24?
So we shoot at 30 frames per second. Occasionally we shoot some stuff at 60 when we're gonna slow it down. But we typically shoot 30 frames per second, which is pretty much standard for like broadcast and stuff like that. So.
Okay. When would you switch between 60, 30, 24?
60 frames per second I'd use maybe for a tracking shot if I was using like a slider, or
I don't know if we would ever go to 24 unless we're going to be doing another Lord of the Rings or something like that, Peter Jackson is the only one that got away with that.
I think maybe he shot in 48 frames per second.
Or maybe 48, true, that's true.
So that's not an option on our we don't have
not yet
an $85,000 cinema camera, but The most used frame rate is going to be 30 frames. And
30, okay.
Yeah.
And then 60 if you want to do slow it down.
Exactly, and 60 frames per second is the maximum on a camera like the 5D Mark IV.
Okay.
So once you go up to a camera like the 1DX, at least in Canon, the 1DX is capable of 120 frames per second, which will provide even better slow motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And someone is asking what editing software we're using for our videos. We're using Premiere, Adobe Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best one, really, honestly, out there right now. So, and our editor, let's send her a big hi, Kenya. Thank you so much for all your work.
Absolutely.
She's in Bolivia, but she's a big part of this team, and a big part of what you guys end up seeing too. It's all her work. So she's using Premiere. And what would you say it's? Why do you shoot at 60 when we want to slow something down? Like, what does that make? Why is it easier for her to slow it down in post?
When you're shooting at a higher frame rate, you have the ability to slow it down because you're actually recording at a faster speed. So you would shoot at 60 frames per second to play back either at 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second. So if you have a timeline that's most of your videos recorded at 30 frames per second, you shoot at 60. If you bring it into a timeline that's 30 frames per second, it will slow the rate at which it plays back.
Okay, awesome. So keep asking questions. I'm just seeing a lot of people, saying hi, where they're watching from. Italy, someone's watching from Italy. Nice.
Buongiorno.
How do you tether your camera? Tether your camera to your computer? Do we do that?
How do you tether to the computer? So the 5D Mark IV uses USB 3. And Canon offers their utility software that you can download from the website. And once you plug the cable into the computer and you turn on the camera, the computer is going to automatically recognize the camera, so you can, and there's many other softwares, I think even Lightroom, Capture One.
Capture One, yep.
But what we have available to us is we use the EOS utility, and with that you can control pretty much all the settings of the camera. You can change your white balance, you can change your ISO, focusing parameters, you can actually tap on the screen where you want to focus. You can set up a recording folder so you can transmit the images directly to that folder. But also with the EOS utility, you don't need a cable to connect to the camera. Now that it has Wi-Fi, you can do that. You can use the Wi-Fi of the camera as well. I like to use a cable instead of Wi-Fi, especially if you don't have an AC adapter for your camera. The Wi-Fi is going to use more battery power, so it's best to have the cable attached.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
So, do we shoot videos when the showroom is open or closed?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of times we try to do it when the showroom is closed because, we don't want to get a lot of interruptions because, we're here to help when we have the showroom open. So we want to make sure that we can give any visitor our full attention. So if it's a lot of times where it's just the two of us working, it's basically going to have to be that we're going to have to stop what we're doing to help the visitor. So honestly, we try to do everything as much as possible when the showroom is closed. We did some when it was open, but I think those days are pretty much gone now. We're pretty busy now when the showroom's open, so
yeah.
If you guys, if anyone comes into the showroom, can they look at this and ask you and use it just for YouTube stuff?
Well, they can come in and take a look at everything that we have here. That's the beauty of having a showroom. You can see everything. It's right here. It's the set. Yeah. I've had so many people come in here and do selfies if they're taking a selfie with it. Yeah, they love the fact that it's like this is where the magic.
We've had people.
That gentleman from Iceland.
We had a guy from Iceland that was here visiting in Miami, and
he was so happy that he got to see the studio. So if you are in the Miami area, you are welcome to come by and take a look at.
Yeah, especially since we're close to the airport, so it's
right there. That's why you hear the planes all the time.
You have a connecting flight. Why not come over and stop by and say hello?
Yep. And you get to see all the wonderful gadgets that we have here. Exactly. Believe me, it's a playground.
You get to see Izzy and Adam.
Yep,
exactly.
We'll be here. And we can even bring Veronica out here for you too, believe me.
So let's see, we have a lot of questions, just trying to make sure we answer all of them. Which is better brand for monopod and tripod? We have some.
There's a lot of them out there. But we've been, most of the time, we've been using, I mean, look at the big guy back here, the Manfrotto. We've been using the heavy duty ones. They make really reliable product. It comes with a fantastic warranty. It's sturdy. You know, we've gotten accustomed to working with it. It just does its job every single time. I know there's tons of brands out there, but we went with Manfrotto because they give you a fantastic warranty, and they've been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah, one of our favorite tripods, and we've already done it in if you check out one of our top picks of the month videos, we talk about the Be Free.
And the new one, the Live.
Be Free Live.
Wow.
Those are excellent choices, but one of my favorites is going to be like the 055 series from Manfrotto. Carbon fiber, of course, just because it's lighter weight.
Now, since we have a lot of people that are starting their channel, or studio, or if you're looking for something that's a little bit more affordable but still good.
I mean, Manfrotto has some really economical.
A monopod?
And monopod's the Altura. The Altura.
We have an Altura photo monopod.
There's a 67-inch monopod from Altura. Very reliable. You can even work it for video if you work with one of those pouches that are available.
Yeah,
so you can clip it on.
Belt pouch.
Yep.
But also, like if you're using like a compact camera, you know, like an HX80 CyberShot or something, you know, something small, you can
even the small mirrorless.
You can put a small ball head on the top of the monopod, and you can use that as you know, for vlogging.
Yep. And hold that at a distance. So
someone's really interested about this mouse. Like, yeah, it's just it's made for.
It looks like a land shark.
To prevent carpal tunnel syndrome. So anyone can use this. But we do have, where is our showroom? Some people still don't know where we're located. It's like a secret location.
Oh, no, it's definitely not a secret. We're like,
the address is on.
Yeah, it's 3330 Northwest 72nd Avenue. We are literally, I mean, you can, if you come to visit, I can show you where you can see the control tower right from here. I mean, that's how close we are to Miami International.
They're even watching us.
I'm sure
they're watching us.
Yep, when we're recording.
Channels. That's why.
Look, there's one now. See, look, there's one now.
Okay, awesome. So let me keep looking at our questions. Can we send stuff to India if they purchase from India?
Actually, that's a good question. I think
it's a very good question, but that's something that
if you ask us below, we'll make sure to answer once this video is posted, because we have a dedicated team just answering.
The shipping department is top notch.
Okay, guys, so I think it's time to get this stuff close to our viewers. Why don't we grab our Canon 5D?
Just toss it over here.
I'll toss it.
Yeah,
I'll catch it.
Why don't we play some volleyball now?
There we go.
Yeah.
I'll set it.
Hot potato.
You spike it.
Yeah, hot potato.
And in the meantime, any final thoughts on these lenses? I know that.
Well, I mean, again,
what's the difference between all four, and why did you choose to bring these four specifically? Because we have, I don't know, how many lenses?
Plethora, but you know, these are the ones that we use most of the time. Like, you know, we swap back and forth between the zooms. Like, for example, here's the new 24-105 that Adam was talking about. This is the 24-105 f4L IS version 2. A fantastic lens because it has a lot of versatility. So even if you have to get the whole crowd, or you have to zoom in, because right now there's 3 of us, so working with the 24-105 allows us to zoom out, and you get most of the showroom here, or the recording area.
Right.
But you can crop in at the 105, and you could do specific close-ups of whatever product we're trying to point out to the consumer. And again, I love this camera. I know that you do too.
What lens is on there now?
Right now, this is the 24-105 f4 L series IS version 2.
It's one that's packaged, you know, with the.
Yeah, it comes available with the body.
It's available with the 5D Mark IV. Is it available also with the 6D Mark II?
Yes, we actually just received some in. Yeah, that was something that was on back order for the beginning shipping period for the new 6D Mark II.
Yeah, so
it's a popular lens.
Right. So if you are interested in like a camera like the 6D Mark II and you don't have any full frame lenses, I definitely, you know, like I would say it's worth purchasing it with this lens.
Because it's going to cost you a lot more if you try to buy it separately afterwards. So you always want to take advantage of the kit price that you get.
Awesome. So which lens is the best macro lens for just 600 or just under 600?
Well, if you're working with Canon,
macro,
they actually just came out with that new EFS version, the 35 millimeter. If you're working with a crop sensor camera like a Rebel series, and that's way below $600, like $300 and something, and it's the one that you got to check the video that we did, because that's the one that comes with that new built-in ring light.
Right.
So that's a really fantastic added feature where you don't have to have external lighting to take along, because it's built into the actual lens. We should have a link to it so they can see that video.
We'll put a link below for that.
That was introduced first on an EOS M lens.
Yep.
And then they introduced it onto
moved
this
it over
lens
to
for the DSLR.
So who knows? Maybe that might be the next step for their L series macro. This is again one of your favorite lenses. This shows all my wrinkles and
yeah, it's extremely sharp.
It's a super
and it's
sharp
a flattering lens for portrait.
Absolutely.
Too, so.
Yep.
Awesome. I was about to say something and I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Was it another question?
No, but we do have another question.
Sure.
So, it wasn't a question, it was a comment, sorry.
Cool.
Guys, keep asking your questions. You know, I see, one thing I really like about our viewers is they tend to answer questions for people too.
Oh, that's awesome.
When we haven't been able to get to them.
That's
but
really cool.
Oh, I remember now. So, when you shoot your YouTube videos, do we do this with all manipulated light in the studio, or what would you say it's the best lighting for the video? Like, aside from, would you say it's daylight?
I mean, available light is free to use.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
you don't
the
have
best
to
lighting.
pay for it.
I think that's the best lighting.
But it's also, you gotta, it's a little bit, you're a little bit more restricted in the time that you have available, where you're shooting.
And the weather.
Exactly. So what we've noticed a lot in the studio is that, you know, shooting early in the morning could be really difficult and tricky because of our location and where where the store is the showroom is facing out. So the light can change very frequently. You could be doing, and especially if you're doing multiple shots and you want to be consistent and you want there to be continuity in the lighting, you know, we use some of the Manfrotto lights for fill. And we have huge windows that a lot of light spills in, available light spills in. But you know, here in Miami, it can be 1 minute it can be sunny and the light or it can be nice or it can be cloudy, which is also really nice because it softens the light. Just as if you're going to put a softbox diffuser on your flash or something like that, or the softbox diffuser acts like the clouds in the sky.
Right.
So, but if you're using available light, you just got to be aware that it can shift very fast. If you're doing video, and let's say you're doing like an interview, you might not want to have a window in the shot because maybe it changes. You might be shooting at a time when the light's going to change drastically, and then it's going to change the way the image looks. So, but available light is really beautiful. It's you just got to be able to harness that light and work with some fill light or reflectors
and diffusers
or diffusers and stuff.
Now,
like that.
as far as audio goes,
sure.
One thing that Adam does a lot is listen really carefully when he's shooting. So what are you using to do that as you record?
Like headphones?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have a camera that has a headphone jack, like the 5D Mark IV does, I know cameras, not until you get to like the 80D. So like cameras like the 77D, the Rebel SL2, you won't have an option to monitor the audio from the camera. There are other options out there on YouTube that you can find ways to get around that. But yeah, it's really important that you're listening to the audio that's coming into the camera. You do have some audio meters in the camera, but with the Canon cameras, it actually the audio. I think the audio meters go away when you hit record, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long day, so you know, it might be there, but you also you can see the meters, but you also want to listen to the audio that's coming in to maybe make sure that there's no interference from the microphones or
anything from like anyone typing to breathing. I think Adam can hear it all.
Air conditioning, air
conditioning.
Right. So if you're recording it inside, you want to make sure that your air conditioning is turned off. Even your refrigerator, if you're recording in a space where your refrigerator.
One thing that I can say happens to me, which I have my own YouTube channel and I have experience vlogging at home, and I know that some people, we might be doing this at a showroom, but some people might be doing this at home. And one thing that happened to me the first time that I ever shot a video was I wasn't wearing headphones and I didn't have anyone to help me, so I just had my camera on and I shot, and then I went to edit and I could hear this really weird sound, and the whole time I was like, it sounded like someone was like breathing on my shoulder, and I didn't know what it was until I remembered my fan was on.
Yeah, exactly.
Something as tiny as that. So I think it's a matter of you like creating a checklist, which we have to do that here too. Water fountains, ACs, fans, anything that can interfere with your audio. Traffic, airplanes.
Yeah, can't control those.
Miami people.
Yeah.
So
airplanes.
Airplanes, yeah, we get a lot of airplanes around here. So what else could we? Let me see. We have a few more questions that I want to make sure we answer before we wrap this live stream. But I wanted to personally ask you, because I know that's part of why we show the camera we use, is what settings do you usually, what are your go-to settings when you start shooting a YouTube video? Okay,
so aperture and shutter speed are determined by the type of, by the lighting. So, but so that I can't really tell you. Well, shutter speed I can tell you. Shutter speed, when you're shooting video, just as a rule of thumb, and you can always break this rule. You choose a shutter speed that's double the frame rate that you're using.
So
we shoot at 30 frames per second. I will stick to having a shutter speed of 60th of a second. My ISO I use for my exposure, and sometimes I'll even use a variable neutral density filter to control exposure, especially when I want to shoot wide open. Aperture, it's determined, I use to determine the depth of, field that I'm looking for. So if I want more deep focus, I'll close the lens down, but that means I need more light or have to adjust my ISO. Picture profile is important in the camera, but I have my own custom picture profile that I use to make sure that, the image is not too contrasty or the camera's not doing too much sharpening, because that can always be done. A lot of that stuff can be done in post, so it's best to let someone that's editing the video control that. Audio levels, I use manual, and I usually turn off the auto gain control, because to get the cleanest audio, you want to be in control of that. And we use wireless lavalier mics, so I'm always, before I start shooting,
we do a lot of tests.
We're always testing the audio to see where the levels are at in the recording. So there's lots of stuff to go into, but those are pretty much, so just to go over. Shutter speed, I have double the frame rate that I'm using, so 60th of a second for 30 frames per second, 50th of a second for 24 frames per second. And if I'm shooting 60 frames per second, I'll shoot at 1/25th of a second. But again, if you're shooting 60 frames per second and your shutter speed is now 1/25th of a second, you're going to now either have to open up the aperture or raise the ISO to compensate for the change in the exposure.
It's a triangle.
The exposure triangle.
Yeah. Okay.
So, exactly. I know.
That was a really good answer. That was an excellent answer. Thank you so much. And we've actually reached the end of our live stream today, but this is a topic that will be repeated throughout our channel very soon. We do have a vlogger series that will be continuing to talk more about what kind of equipment you have to be using for different kinds of videos, either at home or studios. If you have any more questions that you didn't get a chance to receive an answer for, just post them below when the video is posted and you'll be answered.
All right.
Well, again, thank you very much for joining us for another live stream with Digital Goja.
We'll see you
guys next time.
Happy shooting.
Bye.